went to the wrap party that this was it for the Andy Griffith Show.
Hidden grudges lurked behind Mayberry's perfect white fences. Viewers saw a cheerful small-town family, yet the real bonds were tangled and tense. Ron Howard laughed on cue with Andy Griffith and Don Knotts, but one castmate made his skin crawl, and he was not the only one who felt that fire. The same lightning rod sparked a single feud that even calm Andy Griffith could not forgive. Anger simmered, resentments grew, and for years the truth stayed locked away. Now the curtain lifts, and the cast member who split Mayberry in two finally steps into the glare. The Andy Griffith Show looked sweet as honey, but its backstage story was anything but gentle. The series launched on October 3rd, 1960, and wrapped on April 1st, 1968. In that stretch, it delivered 249 half-hour episodes, first in black and white, then in dazzling color. While the scripts praised a slower way of life, the set often felt like anything except peaceful. The show began as a sneaky pilot slipped into the Danny Thomas Show. Andy Griffith appeared as Sheriff Andy Taylor, a widower raising his young son Opie, played by bright-eyed Ron Howard. Though Mayberry was only a name on paper, Griffith described his feel as pure nostalgia. It was of a time gone by, he later said, capturing the spell the writers chased. Fans adored the townspeople. Deputy Barney Fife, eager yet hopeless at his job, made crowds roar. Auntby kept the Taylor house steady. Opie won hearts with that freckled grin. Together they felt like family, on screen at least. Yet cracks spread behind the camera. Strong egos bumped. Jokes landed flat, and one feud between Andy Griffith and a certain co-star grew sharper each season. The public never saw the icy glances, but the chill was real. Despite the drama, the ratings flew high. The show never fell below 7th place. It ended its final year at number 1, a rare trick shared only with I Love Lucy and Seinfeld. Griffith did not grab an Emmy, yet Don Knotts and Frances Bavier together hauled 6 trophies home. Spin-offs bloomed. Viewers marched along with Gomer Pyle USMC, then Mayberry RFD, and even a reunion movie in 1986. Every year crowds still visit Mount Airy, North Carolina, chasing a town that never truly stood on any map. While the myth lived on, one boy from that porch was already dreaming of wider worlds. Ron Howard, the smiling child who waved a fishing pole on screen, was preparing to trade that pole for a camera. Ronald William Howard entered the world on March 1st, 1954 in Duncan, Oklahoma, born into pure show business. His father, Rance Howard, was an actor who first wore the name Beckenholt. His mother, Jean Spiegel Howard, also acted, so the stage lights glowed at home. Ron's roots mixed German, English, Scottish, Irish, and Dutch lines, a patchwork that fit every honest role he played. Tutors taught him on studio lots like Desilu, while regular classes waited in Burbank. He later reached the film school at USC, yet the draw work pulled him away before graduation. By 5, Ron already filled a resume many adults would envy. His first credit came with The Journey, and he popped up in The Twilight Zone, Dennis the Menace, and The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. The Rayall break hit in 1960, when he became Opie Taylor. Ron once laughed about his first day in Mayberry. He had to act as if a toy turtle was real and dead at the same time. It was kind of funny to have to pretend that it was dead. He remembered. That gentle humor became the show's heartbeat. Even though the series aired in the jet-age 60s, its spirit felt older, like porch swings and lemonade under slow summer skies. Don Knotts' nervous Barney Fife, Frances Bavier's wise Aunt Bee, and parade of townspeople made the show a weekly comfort. Emmy voters cheered Knotts and Bavier 6 times, though the top prize for the show itself slipped away. When Mayberry faded to black, Ron's career only brightened. In 1974, he returned to television glory as Richie Cunningham on Happy Days. The clean-cut Richie played perfect opposite to Henry Winkler's street-smart rebel, and viewers could not look away. Yet Ron's heart was already tilting toward the director's chair. While filming Happy Days, he cut a clever deal with producer Roger Corman. He would star in Eat My Dust if Corman let him direct a low-budget film. The result, Grand Theft Auto, rolled onto screens in 1977. Ron kept practicing behind the lens with television movies like the soaring drama Skyward in 1980. His major splash came in 1982 with Night Shift, a madcap comedy that announced a fresh voice in Hollywood. Then came a tidal wave of success. In 1984, he steered Splash, pairing Tom Hanks with Daryl Hannah in a fairy tale romance about a mermaid and a dreamer. Audiences laughed, cheered, and believed. The box office rang. Critics smiled, and Ron Howard secured his place in the big leagues. What began with a toy turtle grew into a life of storytelling magic. Ron was never just a cute child star. He was a director in training, and once he stepped behind the camera, he never stopped showing Hollywood how it was done. Yet long before Oscars beckoned, Howard had endured a set brewing with secret tension. The soft pace of Mayberry had sharp edges unseen by viewers. Storm clouds gathered especially between Andy Griffith and Frances Bavier. On screen, Sheriff Taylor and Aunt Bee loved each other like family. Away from the lights, their friendship cracked, much like the famous chill that later chilled Selena Gomez and Francia Raisa. Rumors whispered that Griffith could not forget harsh words, and that Bavier felt lonely among her cast. The whispers grew into legend. Some crew members claimed Griffith sent flowers to every star except Bavier on the final day. Others said Bavier rarely left her home during breaks because she sensed cold shoulders waiting. Whatever the exact sparks, the fire left scars that never fully healed. Cameras rolled on, scenes flowed, and viewers kept smiling, unaware that more drama thrived just inches from a lens. Even Mayberry, the town built on charm, could not hide human pride forever. Hidden storms rumbled beneath Mayberry's smiling sky. The friction between Andy Griffith and Frances Bavier added a crackling charge to a show millions thought was pure comfort. For years, fans whispered, eager to know why two beloved stars could not share the sweet peace their characters preached. Their clash was not a quick flare, but a long, cold standoff, born from sharp personalities and fierce work habits that never mixed. Sheriff Andy Taylor looked calm each week, settling quarrels with a grin and a gentle word. Viewers loved his steady style, seeing him as a widowed father, wise lawman, and moral lighthouse who guided Mayberry without raising his voice. Sharing his home on screen was Aunt Bee, played by Frances Bavier, the aunt many dream of having. She cooked, comforted, and scolded with tender strength, becoming a symbol of love and good sense across the nation. Together they created TV's warmest porch light. Yet backstage their bond froze solid. Bavier guarded her privacy, while Griffith greeted every hallway with jokes. To him her silence felt icy, to her his friendliness felt draining, and that gap only widened. Bavier's standards stood tall like stone pillars. She measured every line, every camera mark, and expected equal focus from everyone else. Howard Morris, both actor and director on the series, once said guiding her was like tiptoeing through a field of hidden traps. Even small requests, such as sliding a few inches for framing, could spark stubborn protest. Colleagues admired her precision, yet the tension left sweat on many backs. Ron Howard, the child star who played Opie, later praised Griffith for keeping the set light, but even he sensed a chill whenever Ambi stepped away from her rocking chair. Cheat Sheet once recalled a painful story that proved how deep the wall had grown. Griffith drove to Bavier's home, hoping a surprise hello might thaw years of frost. She did not welcome the gesture. Instead, the visit hardened both hearts, turning a hopeful bridge into fresh brick. Time, however, can soften granite. Near the end of her life, Bavier faced cancer, and reflection pulled her toward peace. She lifted the phone and called Griffith. He remembered her words. Bavier apologized sincerely. "I'm sorry we didn't get along better. It was my fault." That humble line, spoken through fragile breath, pulled old thorns from both souls. Bavier left this world in 1989 at 86, far from city lights, yet close to the land that mirrored her most famous role. She had settled in quiet Siler City in North Carolina, where neighbors describe her as private yet kind. Heart trouble shadowed her final months, and though no formal cause was announced, many believe that gentle organ finally gave out. Griffith also reached 86. One calm Tuesday, he slipped away at his home on Roanoke Island, North Carolina, a place he cherished for its stillness. His family laid him to rest there, closing a chapter of television history. Their departures reminded fans that glossy frames often hide raw truths. In the end, both artists chose grace over pride, proving that forgiveness can bloom even after long winters. Mayberry looked peaceful on screen, yet crew members heard doors slam behind stage walls. They later spoke about midnight talks where Griffith worried that private grudges might poison morning scenes. Studio insiders said Bavier arrived early with every line marked, believing strict discipline kept quality high. That mindset clashed with Griffith's loose jokes and quick ad-libs, and the gap only grew. During table reads, laughter flew, then dropped when Bavier corrected timing. Some felt nervous, yet others admitted her focus raised the bar for all, turning tension into polish. Away from Mayberry, Griffith carried music in his soul. He strummed the guitar between takes, easing nerves when tempers rose, though Aunt Bee's wall stayed firm. Writers noticed a chill and trimmed long one-on-one scenes, letting editors stitch shorter moments into the illusion of perfect friendship. While Mayberry memories faded behind him, Ron Howard watched a very different story blossom, a love tale stronger than bright lights or critics. Hollywood brims with dazzling romances that flare then fizzle, yet Ron and Cheryl Howard built a fire that never went out. On 7 June 2025, they celebrated 50 years side by side, proof that quiet devotion can outshine any red carpet. Ron posted a sunset photo showing two silhouettes on soft sand. No reporters, no flashbulbs, only warm light and joined hands. He thanked Cheryl for a lifetime of laughter and called their journey a river ride through calm pools and rough rapids, adding that they survived because they always kept paddling. Their spark ignited when both were 16 bright-eyed teens in California. His freckles and red hair caught her eye. Her steady grace caught his heart, and he soon declared that no other girl could compare. Their first outing felt straight from a 70s postcard. Ron rolled up in a mint green Volkswagen Beetle. They watched a movie, then shared pizza. Years later, he chuckled. It still runs great, so do we. The truth of that line still shines. 5 summers later, in June 1975, they stood in Burbank and whispered vows before family, friends, and a few happy days castmates. Life moved fast, yet Cheryl remained his compass. She did not accept his hand at once. In fact, it took 3 heartfelt proposals before she felt ready. Cheryl wanted college, personal goals, and room to grow before joining paths with a rising star, proving her strength of mind. Before that final yes, Ron proposed under the bright marquee of a drive-in, holding a paper ring from the popcorn box. Cheryl laughed, hugged him, yet asked for time. The second proposal happened at a local fair, right after they won a stuffed bear in a ring toss game. Again, she thanked him, but said her studies came first. At last, proposal number 3 took place during a quiet walk along Mulholland Drive, city lights blinking below. Cheryl said yes because Ron listened to her dreams instead of rushing ahead, and that patience became their blueprint for half a century of teamwork. Bryce Dallas Howard later told a magazine her parents modeled kindness before career. She said every big decision started with, "Will this keep us strong?" That question guided Ron when he swapped acting lines for a director's call of action. Crew members recall Cheryl handling craft tables on Splash, passing sandwiches to extras at midnight, while Ron planned the next shot. Gratitude spread faster than fatigue. On the night of their 50th anniversary, lanterns spelled family in the sand beneath a pink sky. Waves curled around the light, yet the message never flickered, just like their bond. Fans shared the photo, cheering a love that endures while Hollywood often forgets how. The saga of Griffith and Bavier warns that pride can bruise, yet the Howard story proves devotion can mend, wrapping this larger tale in hope. Tears flooded Paige's eyes when she tried to measure their love for Cheryl Howard. She called her mother the stars, the sun, and the moon, the steady light that guided every step. Yet even starlit paths face potholes. Ron admits that lasting love demands more than open hearts. It needs honest talk, a bit of luck, and a promise to keep growing side by side. He says the secret is simple: change together, adapt when life swerves, and always meet in the middle. That rule kept their chemistry glowing even while careers ballooned and challenges piled up. Ron feels wildly fortunate, not only for romance but for the lessons tucked into each season. Late-night feedings, dawn call times, heartbreak, celebration. They survived it all shoulder to shoulder. For their 2023 anniversary, Ron surprised Cheryl with a drive in that same mint green Volkswagen from their very first date. No fancy diner, no fizzing drinks, only open road, engine hum, and 5 rich decades of memory. Hollywood often forgets the quiet kind of love, the patient love that grows in kitchens, minivans, and whispered good nights. Ron and Cheryl never forgot. They protected and nourished it, proving that a steady flame can outshine fireworks. Their romance stays gentle, rooted, and everlasting, and after 50 years it still feels new. Amazing. Ron Howard, the calm storm of cinema. Only a handful of entertainers carve deep marks, both in front of and behind the camera, and Ron Howard stands tall among them. He joins a short list that includes Clint Eastwood, Greta Gerwig, Jordan Peele, Bradley Cooper, and George Clooney, yet he is best known for directing rather than acting. His face filled screens through the 60s and 70s as Opie in The Andy Griffith Show and Richie Cunningham in Happy Days. Behind that friendly grin, he was studying every shot of action, preparing for bigger stages. 1977 brought his directing debut, a chaotic joyride called Grand Theft Auto. From there, he worked nonstop, though the climb was far from smooth. During the 80s, he delivered Splash, a charming fantasy, and Willow, a bold adventure. Both prove his range, but some critics still doubted his ceiling. The 90s offered mixed reviews, and whispers grew that greatness might slip away. Then the new century hit, and everything turned. First came How the Grinch Stole Christmas, then A Beautiful Mind just 1 year later. A Beautiful Mind told mathematician John Nash's fierce battle with mental illness, and the story exploded across theaters. Audiences wept, critics praised, and Oscar statues followed, including Best Director for Howard. Yet praise arrived with pushback. Viewers pointed out that key parts of Nash's life, such as a child born outside marriage and questions about his private life, never reached the screen. Howard later said those details were trimmed to focus on the film's emotional core, but debate raged. He felt stung when public chatter began hurting Nash himself. At that moment, the criticism crossed a line in Howard's mind, when admiration turns into distance. Years later, Howard created the Netflix film Hillbilly Elegy, drawn from J.D. Vance's childhood struggle and family resilience. At that time, Vance held no office, and politics stayed far from set discussions. Since then, Vance has entered public life, and the positions he shares today differ from the personal tale that first caught Howard's attention. The director publicly expressed surprise and disappointment without fiery outbursts, staying true to his measured voice. For Howard, the shift felt personal more than partisan. It echoed an old lesson learned decades earlier on the Mayberry backlot, where a kindly screen ant often felt anything but kind.